Hi, hi. Welcome, welcome. I think I have a friend here. So, perfect. All right. We're going to get started today. For anyone that has not met me yet, my name's Heather, and I just want to come on real quick and say hello to everyone that's joined in. And if you're watching on rerun, that's awesome. Thank you. So I created this parents group so that we can all just have a place to come on and support each other and encourage each other, that we don't have to be perfect, just authentic, and share ideas on how to connect with our children. And this mini training today is all about turning the madness to magic because the holidays have been a little bit crazy for all of us at times. And rather than getting too wrapped up in all of the craziness, I wanted to come on and just come up with a few ideas that I have as far as um, just staying calm and cool and collected. So I try to make this a fun training. We're going to weave in a few elements from the holidays. You guys can say hello in the chat if you want. And I am recording this, so if anyone misses it, which I think it's just a couple people on here at the moment. But if anyone misses it, let me just check my settings here, make sure the chat's open. Yes, it is. Yeah, so we should be good to go. Again, my name's Heather, and here's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna use my notes a little bit because I have not done a ton of live trainings yet. So just like, helps me to kind of remember what I'm talking about. So, we are going to talk about the holidays. Like I said, it's supposed to be the most wonderful time of the year. Going to make a lot of holiday references, but like sometimes it kind of seems like it's you're the star of the show and the Nightmare Before Christmas or something. Like it can get out of control really easily. So today we're going to talk about bringing awareness to some of those signals that our brains and bodies are trying to communicate with each other, like what is triggering you, how you can bring awareness to that, and then bring in some practices to kind of help to calm yourself down and connect with your family. We want to just come and remember what the holidays are about, not overcommitting ourselves, not trying to get too crazy with like the baking contests and things like that. So, if you're ready to start, I wanted to do a fun little visualization. I like to do visualizations. Sometimes it just helps to calm and center me. Sometimes it helps me to think about what I want for my future. Some of the mentors that I've been working with have been encouraging me to do visualization practices, and they can be really fun. So I'm going to read this one to you guys. Let me know what you think. After that, I will just talk a little bit about the current holiday situation, and then I'm going to offer you 3 steps to help turn things around if you are struggling with some stress. And I want to talk a little bit too about how we can use stress to our advantage as well. So, to start, we'll do the visualization. So, close your eyes and take a deep breath, and imagine you're getting up on Christmas morning. Your stockings are hung, everything is decorated, but the house is pure chaos. One kid is pulling you in one direction for attention, another shouting about breakfast. You're scrambling to get everything done, and your partner innocently asks, "What time are we leaving?" And that's it. The inner Scrooge takes over. You snap, the guilt kicks in as the day spirals into stress. And by bedtime, you're more Grinch than Santa, drained and defeated. Now, let's imagine a different version. The house is buzzing with excitement. You get up on Christmas morning, and everybody is already jumping up and down with excitement. Your kids are squealing over the gifts, and they start to tear in, but you remain calm. When your child tugs on you, you respond with patience. Your partner asks a question, and you smile because you feel in control. The day ends with laughter, hugs, and the satisfaction of knowing you made this season magical. So take a deep breath and open your eyes and tell me which version felt better. Probably not the Grinchy version. And I did wear a festive top today. It's probably one of the only festive tops that I have. So, which version do you want for yourself and your family? The whole purpose of visualization is to try to engage some of your feelings and emotions when you're imagining different scenarios playing out. So, let's start with acknowledging the current situation. So, a lot of us do get stuck in that first version with the stress. This group is all about being honest about our imperfections and being okay with that. Like, we're vulnerable. We want to strive for a better life all the time and like managing our own emotions, emotion regulation. Nobody's perfect, so this is an ongoing practice. I just want to put that out there. I'm not perfect. I have done a lot of studying about neuroscience, psychology, parenting, all that stuff, but nobody's perfect. So these are just some suggestions, and I know for a fact that they will really help. So, like I said, the holidays, a lot of times you're just like running around, like it says on my paper, like Rudolph with his tail on fire, and I like that. Kind of paints a picture. Snapping at our kids and feeling guilty about it. The pressure can be overwhelming. I want to say like it's not totally our fault because there is a lot of pressure, but again, we're gonna just talk about like ways to help control ourselves a little bit better. So some of the neuroscience behind this, just not to get too wrapped up in that, but what happens when we feel stressed is our brains are responding to that stress by producing different chemicals. So it releases cortisol when we experience stress, and that's a hormone that helps us react quickly when we have an immediate challenge. So it's like the fight or flight hormone. So it can be helpful in short bursts, like if you're sprinting to grab the last gift on the shelf at Target. You waited till Christmas Eve to do all your Christmas shopping, which is fine. So it can be helpful in short bursts, but prolonged stress, juggling endless to-do lists, it does keep the cortisol levels elevated, and that can lead to irritability, fatigue, and burnout. So short stress is helpful, short-term stress. Long-term stress leads to a lot of health issues, but we can kind of like make stress our friend and let it help us to acknowledge that maybe we need to take something off our to-do list. All right, so the good news is you don't have to stay in the cycle of stress, and here's some ways I'm gonna offer you my blueprint, and it will help keep you cool when everything feels like chaos. Keep your cool. Actually enjoy the holiday season with less guilt and overwhelm, and build some magical, meaningful memories that will last a lifetime for you and your family. So, and this is a parents group, but I do want to say that most of these concepts that we're going to discuss and talk about in the trainings and even in the group chats, they are going to be concepts and ideas that really can relate to any relationships in your life. So whether that be a partner, coworkers, your family, you can kind of use most of these concepts across the board. So, who's ready to hear the blueprint? It's a super secret blueprint. I'm going to share it with you today. It's not super secret, but I like to use an acronym for this transformation blueprint. It's 3 steps, basically, 3 major steps, and there are some sub-steps and ideas within the framework. The acronym is ACE. So let me do. ACE. 3 steps to transform from madness to magical holiday. The A stands for awareness and acknowledgement. So, the way that that works, awareness and acknowledgement, you want to think about your holiday stress triggers. I think I have one live guest right now. If you can type, if you're listening and close to the computer, hi Rick, if you can type trigger into the chat. If you're not at your computer, you can do it when you come to your computer. I want to make sure that chat's working and we can keep the chat on for anyone. Hi. Okay, yay. We'll keep the chat on for anybody that watches the rerun too. I believe you can still chat in there. So, okay, thank you. Just making sure everything's working properly. So, awareness and acknowledgement. So, we all have triggers. It's good to know what they are. I will say that this comes with a little bit of a caveat of once you start becoming aware of your triggers, it's almost like you're never going to get away with it again because what happens to me is I get triggered all the time, but then I know like I know what to look for. I can feel myself getting triggered and it's so annoying because it's like, I just want to be triggered, but nope, I can't. So you can't like sit in the stress, in the trigger, acknowledge it, and then kind of let it go. So pay attention. Are you snapping at your kids? Are you avoiding your partner? I know I sometimes do that if I'm feeling a little irritable. There's a part of me that wants to just like hide under a rock, but that's not really healthy and you're not dealing with the issue at that point. So I know like during the holidays, we sometimes feel like you're carrying the weight of the world, or at least the weight of the holiday plans. So understanding the behaviors is also a part of the awareness. So knowing the behaviors don't define you, but they can reveal what's happening beneath the surface. So you have to ask yourself, are you feeling exhaustion? Are you feeling pressure to make everything perfect? Whatever it is, acknowledge it without judgment. Everybody has these feelings, so feeling triggered is not a sin. It's not like the end of the world. Become aware of it without blaming, and then we can start to understand why it's happening. So, here's something fascinating, a little more of the neuroscience. And I know, Rick, you love when I talk about neuroscience, so here we go. You're welcome. Short-term stress in small doses can actually boost your focus and productivity, and that's because the chemicals that your brain is releasing are there to help you respond quickly. So you get productivity goes up, your focus goes up. It's your brain's way of rallying the troops, basically. But when we look at long-term stress, it's kind of like leaving the Christmas lights on all night, every night, and eventually something burns out. And that's when we have prolonged stress, you start to come against some health issues. There's heart issues associated with stress, high blood pressure, all kinds of problems due to long-term stress. But short-term stress, if we can recognize it and become aware of it, understand it, we can start to shift. So when we can identify the stress, we shift the patterns, and that's going to bring us to number 2. But, oh yeah, okay, so number 1, I can't do all this work on these fancy papers and not show them to you. So this was number 1, awareness. And then we're going to move to number 2, which is commitment. You're going to commit. I like to say commit to the reps, but you're committing to the practices. But the reps is like you have to put in the practice again and again and again. So commit to the practices to see some change. So you're kind of like rewriting your holiday story. So 3 steps you can start today to help you out. And we're going to bring in some holiday friends to help us remember. So the first thing you do to rewrite your holiday story is pause before you snap. I like to call this space. We're creating space between a stimulus and a response. And when we can first become aware of that happening, then we say, like, oh, I need to take a breath. Okay, but here we're going to channel our inner Frosty. That's right. Cooling calm. So when you feel the heat rising, pause and ask, how do I want to respond? A deep breath can save the moment. And these are all things that I have to remind myself of all the time, too. Again, I'm not perfect, but having all of this knowledge and it kind of like haunts me when I am having trouble and then I just annoy myself if I make a mistake. I'm like, "Oh, I should know better." So, channel your inner Frosty. Pause before you snap. Create that space between the stimulus and the response. So, that's the first thing we're going to practice. Number 2 is setting holiday priorities because you're not an elf with unlimited energy. You can't go 24/7. Pick what matters most. So, decorating cookies, watching Home Alone as a family, or just sit by the tree together, sit in front of the fire, hang out with friends and family. We're going to channel our inner Elsa here and let it go. So, if there's something you can do without that's stressing you out a little bit, just let it go. Couple examples. The other morning, my kids were questioning me on Sneaky Snickers, who is our elf on the shelf. And if any children are watching, parents, if you do Elf on the Shelf, you can mute this training or pause it or exit and watch the rerun. But I don't want to give away any secrets that aren't ready to be shared yet with your children, should you be watching with them. But I gave away, kind of like let the cat out of the bag with Sneaky Snickers. The kids were questioning me about the elf on the shelf. Yes, his name's Sneaky Snickers. If I didn't already say that, I may have. So I just finally told them, you know what? Yes. Why does his writing look like yours, Mom? Because he leaves notes around the house sometimes, and he plays a lot of pranks on the kids. They ask me a lot of questions about the pranks lately. Like when Sneaky Snickers peed in all those cups and left the pee out, what actually was that? And it was more like, they were kind of catching on to things. So let the cat out of the bag. It took the pressure off a little bit. And now I told them, like, we can just take turns hiding him. So that was one big thing off the list. So in setting holiday priorities, like getting back to the steps here, that was, I don't know, that just kind of like gave me some breathing room. Um, Another thing, I'm going to a party this evening, and I just told them that I was not going to be bringing anything too crazy. I started to look up some cookie recipes, and I was like, why am I doing this to myself? This is a 5-page blog with 2 steps of procedure, 2 pages of ingredients, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So I'm going to go to Hannaford after this session is done, and I'm going to buy frozen appetizers. I don't even care. If you're there, Rick, still type frozen. We're going to go pick out some frozen appetizers. So that's just an example. You don't have to get that ghetto about it, but that's just some of my things that I've substituted instead of driving myself crazy. Okay, thank you. All right. So pause before you snap, channel your inner Frosty, set holiday priorities because you're not an elf with unlimited energy. And so those are a couple practices that I'm gonna give you as challenges. And then the third one is so nice. Oh my gosh, I wish I could do this more. Schedule rest stops because even Santa takes breaks. Okay, guys, so just take like a little nap, take a walk, sit with your dog on the couch and pet your dog. Like, read a book to the kids or grandkids. A lot of the people in my group, I think, have older adult children, and so they're in like the grandparent phase, which is awesome too. So, with all of these steps, they're helping you to regulate your nervous system and just kind of calm down if you're feeling that holiday stress. So, you're moving out of fight or flight mode and into a state where you can actually enjoy the moment. I call this commitment to practicing, like putting in the reps, because you need repetition. The more you practice, the better you're going to get at this. So, all right, we talked about the awareness, we talked about commitment, putting in the reps. I gave you a few little challenges there. Channel Frosty, you're not an elf with unlimited energy, and schedule rest stops because even Santa takes breaks. So then we're going to talk about the final step in transformation. I like to just call that it's maintaining the transformation, but I like to say like we're embodying that transformation. So you're going to be leading by example at this point and maintaining the changes that you've made and continuing to put in the reps in the practice. So again, imperfect, authentic, vulnerable. It's okay to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. That's why we celebrate being human all together. So once you've started to make the changes, you want to maintain the magic. It doesn't have to stop there. So to make them stick, you're going to need consistency. So leading by example, I love this is like a blessing and a curse all at once, but I'm continuously aware of leading by example. And I know that my kids are going to, in large part, mimic the same behaviors that they see me doing. So that is kind of a heavy weight on my shoulders, but also it helps to keep me accountable. So I choose to see that as a good thing. And I also choose to repair situations when I've made a mistake or if something happens that I know is more harmful than good for my connection with the kids, my relationship with them. So I would encourage you all, if you do make mistakes, if something happens over the holidays or any time that you don't feel good about, we can talk about repair because repair is a whole separate issue and a lot of people don't repair damage in their relationships because they don't know how. They want to, but they just don't know how. No one's ever taught them how. And maybe when they were young, things happened in their lives that didn't feel good with their own parents, and their parents didn't repair with them, so they were never shown how to do that. Send me a message. You don't have to write it in the chat, but if anyone watches this on reruns or replay, let me know if you want to talk about repair, because that's one thing I love to talk about. Once you do it a couple times, it's very, I don't want to say it's simple because you have to like set aside your pride to a point, but it's very rewarding, I will say that. And it's very possible to do. It's one of those things like once somebody shows you, you'll have some confidence to do it yourself. So embodying the transformation. Did I show you my E yet? So we have embody, lead by example. So the 3 steps: awareness, commitment, and embody the transformation. So we talked about all of those things. So here's the thing, the blueprint does work if you commit to it, to all 3 steps. Changing habits and mindsets can feel tricky, kind of like navigating the North Pole without a map. Yes, I said it. So if you want any help understanding some of these concepts or working through anything that you're struggling with, I am offering free strategy calls. So just send me a message, or you can type chat or talk or call into the chat, and that will show up on the reruns too. But probably better just send me a direct message, and I can actually put the link for my strategy calls into the group as well for anybody that wants to talk It's free. It's like 45 minutes, maybe up to an hour, depending how much you want to talk about. So when we go on those calls, it's about understanding what's behind your reactions or what you're struggling with. It's building practical habits to shift your mindset and starting to change behaviors and perceptions as well. I love to talk about perception, and that's just basically your mindset, your beliefs, and some of these things we've had since we were little. Some, just as children, we start to develop these perceptions. And we can talk about leading your family with more confidence and staying calm, building connections with your families. So, I just want to encourage you to imagine stepping into the holidays with a clear plan, a calm heart, all the tools you need to create memories that you've always dreamed of. And if that's the gift that you want for your family, I would love to support you. So again, direct message me if you want to schedule a free strategy call. I can send you details. We can turn your holidays from hectic to heartwarming. That is the goal. I'm going to remind myself of that too as we're closing in on like 9 or 10 days here. Well, 10, 11 days. So I'm gonna wrap up here, but just remember that your kids don't need a perfect Christmas. They need you. I'm also talking to myself. I'm reminding myself. So we can work together to make the season one you'll all treasure forever. I'm here to help, and I can't wait to connect with you. I've been having some really meaningful chats and calls lately, so that's been really, really nice. And let's just try to make the holidays merry and bright for everyone, for you and your kids. And I will see you guys in the next training. If you have any ideas for content that you would like to see or trainings that you would like to see, let me know. I was thinking of talking about seasonal depression because I have a few friends that struggle with seasonal depression and some family members. And I have struggled with it a little bit in the past, but again, I've come into some practices and I know how to manage it now. So I've come to enjoy the winter a little bit more and the challenge of the snow. Sorry, Rick. I know you don't like snow, but it happens. It's the cleanup. I know. I don't even ski, but I don't mind the winters. So I'm not sure if we're going to do another training before Christmas. I have my kids off from school, not this coming week, but the week after, and a half a week after that. So I do look forward to the next training. Keep your eyes open in the group, and I will share what that's going to be about, and I'll put it out on the schedule. We can vote on the date again. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend and a Merry Christmas. And again, please message me if you want to book a phone call. We can do that. And thank you to everyone who watches. All right. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.